The James Show Podcast.
Mr. Joby, hit it. All right, thank you, Mr. Joby. Welcome to Dead or Alive. I'm your host, James Parker. And today we're playing for 2 tickets to the 2026 Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo. It'll get you into the Pro Rodeo Tournament, same-day general admission to the Stock Show grounds. Well, you know, I'm where I'm at. And then you could also get a Midway book that has coupons for a bunch of rides and shows. So that's for the rides, like if you want to do a little Ferris wheel action out in the parking lot. That'll get you onto some of those rides. So nice little package here. Today's category is fake cops. Fake policemen. So policemen that were on TV and in movies, not like the Uvalde guys or not like the Paul Blart at the mall. And we're going to start on this one with, let's see who called in first. Ray in Fort Worth. Hey, Ray in Fort Worth, you're going to be first. You're going to be first up on Dead or Alive. You ready here?
Awesome. Winner, chicken dinner. Let's go, brother.
All right. I appreciate the optimism there. So let's start off. This is pretty easy start, and it'll get a little bit harder as we go along. Number one.
Gotcha.
He played the policeman Harry Callahan, Dirty Harry. His name's Clint Eastwood. Dead or alive?
Alive.
All right. Next one. Columbo, played by Peter Falk. Dead or alive?
Rest in peace. Dead.
The guy who played Lenny Briscoe in Law and Order. His name's Jerry Orbach. Dead or alive?
Dead.
He is dead. Bruce Willis, who played John McCain in Die Hard. I think he was also a cop, or at least a PI in Moonlighting. Dead or alive?
Yeah. Alive.
He is alive. And wasn't he a cop in Fifth Element, too? He's done a lot of cop movies.
Yeah,
Sixth Sense, I think he was a cop. Anyway, Telly Savalas, he played Kojak. Dead or alive?
Dead and still bald.
Yes, Kojak is dead. Mel Gibson, who played Martin Riggs in Lethal Weapon. Dead or alive?
Awesome movie. Alive.
His partner in that movie was a character named Roger Murtaugh, played by Danny Glover. Is Danny Glover dead or alive?
Ooh, it's a 50-50 on this one. I'm going to say dead.
No, he's alive. And they're all 50-50s. All right. Thank you very much for playing. We're going to go to Carol in Flower Mound. Hey, Carol, you ready for Dead or Alive?
I think so.
Yeah. Good. Well, Ray did most of the heavy lifting. There's only 3 left. Peter Weller, he played RoboCop in the original RoboCop in 1987. Is he dead or alive?
Dead.
No, Peter Weller's still alive. I know.
Okay.
It's like a poor man's Ed Harris.
I tried. All right.
Yeah, I tried to get you tickets. Thank you very much. That was Carol in Flower Mound. We're going to go to Becky in Rowlett. Oh, my God. Becky, look at her. Stock show tickets. Tom Selleck, he played Magnum P.I. Is that man dead or alive?
Alive.
Yes, he is. And finally, the guy who played Jim Rockford in the Rockford Files. His name's James Gardner. Is he dead or alive?
I think dead.
We want to go to the rodeo.
There you go. Stop talking while you're still ahead. You got it. Becky and Rowlett. That's a long drive. You going to drive all the way from Rowlett to the middle of Fort Worth to come to the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo?
We just came from there. From that.
Well, now you have to come back.
There we go. That's fine.
All right. Well, good. Congratulations. Your stellar knowledge of fake cops has paid off. I'm going to put you on hold. One of the Garretts in there will get you information. We'll email you the tickets so you can come on back down to the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo. For the rest of you, if you want to get tickets, FWSSR.com. This has been today's edition of Dead or Alive.
Thank you.
Thank you. See, another happy customer right there. Let's talk about this lady who quit her job over Trump. I find this insane, this lady right here. This lady.
So I'm going to quit my job on Monday. And granted, this is something I cannot afford to do. And it's also a job that I love. I love this job so much, and it's going to break my heart. The owner of this place that I work, she supports Donald Trump and ICE and refuses to back down on it. She voted, and I've just been holding my tongue so bad because I love this job, and obviously I need the money. What the am I going to do? I don't know, but I have to quit my job. I'm going to document it. I'm going to record it and post it, and it's going to be awful, but I refuse to look back on this time in history and say that I didn't do every single thing I can to not support anyone who supports this. I have to be on the right side of the history books, and I can't.
Yeah, let's just cut it off right there. Bro, that is just a luxury of the affluent if you can quit your job because you don't like the political beliefs of your immediate boss. Are you kidding me? Good Lord. Look, that can't be a job that pays a lot. And if it is, you're an idiot. I mean, think about these guys that go into the NFL, right? You know, politically speaking, most of them disagree with you and me, and that's okay, but they got to go play for, like, these millionaires, billionaire guys who definitely agree with you and me. You hear any of those guys saying, I don't know if I could work with Jerry Jones. He's not progressive enough for me. I don't know. He said he supports Trump, so I'm just going to turn down a $60 million contract. Hell no. You're not really that principled. Oh, I just really love this job. I don't know what I'm going to do. Well, you're going to go find another job is what you're going to go do. And what you've done is now that you've set this precedent, you can't go work for half the country. And here's the bad part. It's the half of the country that's more likely to create jobs and own small businesses and hire employees at an entry-level whatevers. Have fun with all that. I find that absolutely insane. Because that's one of the good things about being an unapologetic free market capitalist pig is I do not have to explain myself or look like some sort of hypocrite when I'm making money. I'm supposed to make money. Every once in a while, people will send me an email. They'll be like, Parker, did you know that there's a vaccine ad that's running during your show? How do you allow such a thing? I'm like, bro, I would take all the money from Pfizer. I'm still going to come on the show and tell you the truth about Pfizer and if they or vaccines or whatever. And if they still want to advertise on my show, that's on them. I'll take their money. I'll advertise for James as a shortfatidiot.com. If they pay me good enough, I'll be right there. So no, dude, go make your money. Look, even if you do hate this lady's politics, your boss's politics, if you continue to work for her, you take her money. Isn't that kind of a bonus? And that kind of a nice little compensation? You're not supposed to care about politics. That's what the money's for. 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. And this feels very much like what we were just talking about, boycotting the skating rink because they didn't like your politics. Look, I'm not saying I would never leave a job because I don't like the politics of my employer, but it'd have to be a lot worse than, he voted for a guy I don't like. I mean, you'd have to be flying a swastika, I think, before I'd even think about that. Could the Chinese Communist Party have anything or any influence behind what we're seeing in Minneapolis and across the country with so many of these protest movements? My next guest, Casey Fleming. He's from Black Ops. He wrote The Red Tsunami, The Silent Storm Killing Your Freedom. So how do we make this connection? First off, do you think the CCP, I know they love unrest within the American public in general, but do you really think they have a hand in these Minneapolis protests? See, Lawrence.
100%. It's validated, confirmed, not just directly from CCP money, but also agents of the CCP. A guy named Neville Roy Singham is a U.S. billionaire that made a lot of money through China, and he's an agent of the CCP. He's also funding it, as well as other proxies. So there's no question that the CCP is not completely, but hugely behind it. There are other entities as well.
So what are they doing?
They're going through, they're holding, first of all, they're hiring people off of Craigslist and social media, and they're paying them by the hour. Some are paid by the year to organize all this stuff, and they're creating and driving training programs in hotel ballrooms. So it's a formal issue, and it's for total unrest, and it's all by design. This chaos is by design, and it's part of a bigger strategy called unrestricted war.
My big pushback on this is these goobers would be doing this whether or not the Chinese Communist Party was involved or not. What do you say to that?
To a very minimal degree, certainly not to the size and the scale. You might have a few wingnuts out there that are doing it, but certainly not to the size and the scale and somewhat of the professionalism. These are professional protesters with professional leadership. So, yeah, you might have some wingnuts out there, maybe half a dozen to a dozen, but nothing on the size and the scale we're seeing today.
So, Casey Fleming, how do we stop it?
Stop buying Chinese goods and services. Seriously. Stop funding an enemy who's trying to destroy you. There's a much bigger picture out there called unrestricted war, as I mentioned, and it's much more serious than anyone really realizes. My company is part of a global network of intelligence experts, over 400 across the globe, of intelligence and subject matter experts. I just came out with a book. It's releasing tomorrow called The Red Tsunami on this entire thing. The American people and the people of the free world are on the front lines. You've heard of fentanyl. It's drug war. You've heard of COVID, biological war. You've heard of TikTok, cognitive war. This is real serious stuff, and they're all connected. Same with Venezuela, same with Iran, same with Ukraine. All this stuff is part of a master plan to defeat freedom and defeat democracy and replace it with totalitarian communism. And that is for sure, and that's 100%.
So a lot of this sounds believable in the fact that if Tim Walz and the AOCs and Kamala Harris's of the world were or weren't pro-Chinese, you couldn't tell the difference in their policy positions. Now, is that just an accident, or are they bought off? Because, you know, if you're a Bernie Sanders, the guy who's liked communism and Marxism from day one, and you went and you had your honeymoon in the Soviet Union, the Chinese wouldn't even need to buy you off. They wouldn't even have to, like, put you on a newsletter. You would just be doing what they wanted to anyway.
True, but should only be one off, if you would. But the rest, this is total corruption. It is total, it's called foreign influence, and it's serious. It's beyond people's imagination. If you want a timeline on it, it's the 9th inning in a baseball game. It's the last 2 minutes of a football game with no timeouts. This is extremely serious. When COVID hit, everybody knew something was really off. Then you saw all these movements happen immediately after COVID hit. That's all by design. And people want somebody to step up and say, please tell us the truth. The FBI director, Christopher Wray, says China, he said it many times for the past 7 years before he retired and was replaced by Kash Patel, who also said it, that China is the largest single threat to the future of the United States. But they give no detail. Well, I give the detail in this. It's actually not a book. It's a survival guide. It's a whistleblower expose, and it'll freak you out. But it's something every American needs. I'm not doing this to sell books. It's not about me. It's about you. I wrote the book, and I'm passing the baton to every man, woman, and child. Unrestricted warfare is focused on the individual. It's a people's war against the people. And I mentioned to you, COVID, fentanyl, TikTok, and there's hundreds and thousands of other methods. Well, there's actually over 100 different methods of unrestricted war. So this isn't conspiracy theory. This is intelligence. It is factual. It's what we deal with every day. But for the person on the street, I'm sure it sounds pretty much out of left field, but it is not. And that's the reason I wrote the book.
All right, well, we got to run, but thank you for joining us. This is Casey Fleming from Black Ops. That book he's mentioning, The Red Tsunami, The Silent Storm, Killing Your Freedom. All right, you know, I was going to start a whole new topic here, but we're kind of running out of time here. But I am already seeing some really good feedback from people who listen to the show on the Minneapolis churches being stormed. So that was kind of interesting. Now we have Don Lemon, who is doubling down. This is a guy who was at the protest. I was playing you some audio, and Markley Van Campen Robbins was spending a lot of time on the Don Lemon part of the audio because he followed that group in there. And then here he is talking to that girl Willow, and he's saying not very nice things about the people in the church. And it's like, bro, you might want to just tap the brakes on this whole anti-Christianity thing. And then he has just a big pair here when he sort of reinterprets the Bible and the flipping of the tables in the temple and whatnot.
Interesting. Don't you think Jesus would want to talk to these people and help these people?
Yeah. Well, and also remember, as someone who wrote the book and was on your show wrote a book about God, Jesus turned the tables over in the temple, right? He flipped the tables because he was tired of them, not doing what they're supposed to do in his Father's house and not living up to the tenets of Christianity. And so,
stop. It's awfully vague there. He was a lot more specific than that. They didn't like the money changers at the table. We're charging exorbitant rates because whenever you come in and you wanted to make a donation, you had to change your money from one currency to the another, and they were charging them 10% or 20% or something ridiculous like that. But generally speaking, it's not even the money exchange thing that he was upset about. It's the fact that people were profiting off of God. They were profiting off of they were using the religion to make themselves a profit. They weren't doing it for the right reasons. They weren't doing it to help the community. They weren't saving people. They weren't spreading the word or passing out Bibles or visiting people at funerals or at the hospital whenever their kids get born. I know there weren't hospitals back then, but stick with me. Things that normal pastors would do. Now, that's using God's name in vain. When you use God's name just so you can enrich yourself and you're not actually trying to help the church or save anybody. And Don Lemon, that takes a lot coming from you. Yeah, because they weren't living up to the principles of Christianity. Says the gay fella who's interrupting a church service. Okay, he continues here.
It is surprising to me if it is true that this person somehow works for ICE, and also it is true that they're not understanding now is that they're doing the exact opposite of what Christianity is supposed to be about. And I say in the reporting, Jen, if you look at it, and if you go and look at the full thing.
I love that they're doing the exact opposite of what Christianity doesn't say. Hey, you need to allow unfettered immigration, and even if they come here and they rape your daughters and they steal your tax money and they ruin your property values and they steal your jobs, that you're supposed to not enforce the law. Good Lord, they just make up anything. So which is it? Is Christianity evil and sucks and we're not doing our jobs, or is Christianity a good thing? Which one is it? Are we supposed to follow Jesus or not? Are we supposed to follow Jesus in your scenarios but not in other scenarios? Because that doesn't fly either, sir. All right, the other thing I wanted to bring up here, and I'm just going to touch on it real quick. Mayor Mamdani in New York City wants to do public bathrooms. And public bathrooms, I don't mean when you go to Buc-ee's and there's 40 stalls so that you can poop in and 60 urinals. He means there's going to be standalone little buildings that are owned by nobody but the city that are going to be available for people to go to the bathroom in. And what a terrible idea, because you know what's going to happen here in a big city like New York.
Do you ever find yourself wandering around the city with no place to go?
No matter what you do, how old or young you are, what borough you call home, you've been here before.
A sudden stream of thoughts fills your mind like a waterfall. Might seem like a laughing matter, but
Public restroom access is a real issue here in New York.
and one we're committed to solving. That's why we're proud to announce not just the construction of a new automatic public toilet right here in Harlem at 12th and St. Clair,
But also a new pilot program to make it easier to build new public restrooms all across our great city.
in the past, building these kinds of facilities have faced a number of obstructions.
But we've worked to find a way to get these free public restrooms passed and built.
We'll do this by partnering with vendors to make modular facilities, which won't require subgrade hookups, which means fewer steps to approval, faster construction, and more public bathrooms across New York City.
This is not going to work. This is such a terrible idea. So what you're going to have is just little drug booths. You know, if you're a vagrant and you're living on the street and you want to bang some black tar heroin, you have places where you can go now. You just go shut yourself in a stall and nobody can stop you. No business owner can say you have to buy something before you get in here. It's just going to be occupied by homeless people, just like the bathrooms at so many of the public libraries in the downtown areas of major American cities. It's just where homeless people go to do their business and take little sink showers and what. It's not going to work. It's going to be a huge, embarrassing failure. And it's just really frustrating because this has been tried over and over and over in different cities and different countries for the past 100 years, and it's never worked. And this guy is showing you that he has done nothing as far as civil engineering or statecraft or really history or God. It's going to be great to watch this for the next 4 years. All right, it's Martin Luther King Day. I want to leave you with my favorite Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. quote. But real quick, just to show you how everybody is talking about Martin Luther King Jr. today on his day, but the average American knows so little, and you were taught so little about not just what this guy says and believes, but who he is. Did you know his name's not even Martin Luther King Jr.? Did you know that's not his real name? Did you know he had a different name at birth, and it got changed after his dad's pilgrimage? His real name, Michael King. That's all. Just wanted to throw that out there. How many of your fellow Americans know that that's not even his real name? 1%? 5%? Because I bet you it's less than 10%. All right, I'm going to leave you, though, with my favorite quote from him. This is a quote I used to hear on an old soul station that was here. Soul 77 or Soul 73, or it was an AM station. And they used to play these little black power clips between songs. And I love that. This was my favorite one.
What I'm saying to you this morning, my friend, even if it falls your lot to be a street sweeper, go on out and sweep streets like Michelangelo painted pictures. Sweep streets like Handel and Beethoven composed music. Sweep streets like Shakespeare wrote poetry. Sweep streets so well that all the hosts of heaven and earth will have to pause and say, here lived a great street sweeper who swept his job well. If you can't be a pine on the top of a hill, be a scrub in the valley, but be the best little scrub on the side of the reel. Be a bush if you can't be a tree. If you can't be a highway, just be a trail. If you can't be the sun, be a star. It isn't by size that you win or you fail. Be the best of whatever you are.
All right, that's going to do it for the James Show. I'll be back live tomorrow as well from the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo, so come on out, say hi. Coming up next, Mark Levin on News Talk 820 93.3 FM, WBAP.
The James Show Podcast.